Hey guys, before we dive into the show, I wanted to tell you about the perfect trailer queue blueprint, which is 100% free, and you can download it right now over at thetrailermusicschool.com/blueprint. Now, this blueprint will help you to completely understand the structure of trailer music, how to build tracks that will be more licensable and have more impact and capture the right people's attention. So whenever you start writing a cue, make sure you've got this blueprint to hand and you can use it to help speed up your process, feel more confident that you've crafted a well-structured trailer cue before you send it off to that publisher or editor or supervisor. Okay, let's get into the episode. Hey guys, you've heard it from me so many times about how awesome the Protégé course is. So I thought it was probably best for you to hear from some of our students.
I went into the Protégé course with a pretty unhealthy amount of insecurity about the music I was writing at the time, struggling to structure tracks, to finish them on a regular basis.
We're going to have a bunch of people basically working in the industry, get briefs every week, and then we publish them. I was like, what? That sounds like insane. I've never heard of any other people doing that sort of thing, like actually like mentoring people on like the level of like, no, we're doing it for an entire year. Yeah, that's why I think the Protégé thing is just amazing, because it's targeted. It's okay, we want this type of music for this type of application. Let's do it. And then, okay, here's where you fell short, here's where you succeeded, and it's just amazing.
I feel like I've learned so much and improved so much in my production skills. I've gotten better at percussion and better at my capacity to write tracks quicker has improved, and I've gotten better at properly responding to feedback, and I feel like now there is more of a future for me in the library world than there was before I started.
It's definitely a course that I would recommend doing. There are so many courses out there, but this one really hammers home on how to write to brief, how to write quickly, and how to write expertly as well. Honestly, the videos are very user-friendly, they're very engaging, and you get to have breakdowns of some of Richard's most successful tracks, or Elephant Music's most successful tracks, which has been really useful as well. So I thoroughly recommend to dive right in.
Protégé was one of the best investments that I ever made in my career. It did level up my game, and not just in skill, but also in my confidence. It just made me a more professional composer and a better composer.
But the course did exactly what it intended to do, in that it kind of demystified the whole composition process, taught me a bunch of good habits. And I suppose most importantly, and what I'm the most grateful for, is the fact that it actually helped me to really enjoy writing music again.
There you have it, guys. We are opening our doors for applications for the 21-22 masterclass year with Protégé.school. Go to protege.tiny.us/apply. That's protege.tiny.us/apply to start your application.
Three men with 3 microphones and 1 awesome podcast. Welcome to the Trailer Music Composers Podcast.
Right, okay, welcome to this week's Trailer Music Composer Podcast. As I mentioned in the last episode, I do have something quite exciting to reveal today. And that thing, whether you've been listening to the intro, is that I am not the only person with a microphone today. And not just that I have one guest, and not that I have 2 guests, but I have 2 co-hosts, which is very, very exciting for me. So I would like to officially welcome my semi-regular, not regular, once in a while when they're not too busy, because they're very, very busy in demand chaps. Cody Still, Ciaran Birch. So join me on the Trailer Music Composers Podcast. Welcome, guys.
Hey,
hi.
Welcome. Hey. I like that you mentioned my name first, too, actually.
I thought I was a bit offended, actually. Technically, if you went CB, comes before CS. So
yeah. Yeah,
but it's okay.
I was going to say it was
Cody,
alphabetical, but I couldn't think that fast, guys. Sorry. I
That's
was
okay.
reading. I was reading like a comic in reverse on my screen. I went to the bottom first and then up to the left.
Okay.
Right. So, so guys, lovely to have you here. Now, the reason, as I mentioned to you before, and I'm just speaking to the audience here, the reason I've got you guys on, not just because you're legends and awesome fun too, is because I thought it would be nice to have a change up from my solo banter when I talk to myself in the woods, which is hilarious, obviously.
I think it's hilarious.
Well, I find it hilarious anyway. So this week, this is the first week of the banter show. I think I should probably just call it the banter show. I've been calling it that from now on. So of the trailer music banter show, we are going to be getting nerdy. Okay, so one of the things I get asked about a lot, guys, audience, I want you to know these guys are pulling faces at me right now.
Let's get nerdy.
Everyone likes to know what everyone's getting. That's why I always ask when I have a guest on the show. I always ask, what's your setup? What plugins are you using? What software are you using? But we're going to change up a little bit. Now, these guys haven't prepared for this, so they're looking a little bit nervous. But I would like to know. Oh, hello, my 4-year-old's just walked in.
The STEM assistant.
Yes,
STEM assistant one.
He's come to deliver me some stems.
Right on cue.
right on cue. I'll be back in a second. I want to talk new gear. And I don't mean outboard gear, because you guys should know, as everyone should know, that I generally don't buy outboard gear. In fact, I don't have any outboard gear, with regard to, air quotes, outboard gear. But with regard to interesting stuff that we can buy, basically new toys. So I'm going to give you guys a moment to think about this, because I think this is actually one of the really most interesting parts of my job, where you get to play with new toys that you play an old sound through and go, oh, this is exciting. So for instance, I just bought a sample, not a sample library, like a vocal synth from Plogue, where you can write in the samples and then play it on your keyboard, and it's just like Daft Punk. It's amazing. So no vocoder involved here. They've done all the hard work for you. It's awesome. So I was just going bigger, faster, stronger view. That's pretty much. I did that for about 20 minutes.
So you just speak into it and eat like a vocoder, and it just.
You don't speak into it. You just type. So you just type the words. We'll put the link for it in the show notes. I'm terrible with names. This is the other thing. It's some kind of vocal synth. But yeah, so you just type the sentences, and when you play the note, it sounds the first syllable, and then when you release the key, it sounds the end of the word. So, or at least the next syllable. It's very clever, and it was super fun. The only reason I'm mentioning this is because I've been doing a lot of synthwave just for fun.
I saw your 80s, or was it 80s synthwave?
Yeah. Under the moniker Zach Rivers, which is
I saw. I was trying to remember the name. I was like, what was the name?
Yeah.
Tell us the story behind that, Richard.
Zach Rivers. That was the name we were going to give my son, but we switched it. We were going to call him Zachary Rivers, and Rivers is obviously after the lead singer of Weezer. Rivers. I always forget to say that. Rivers Cuomo. And I just thought Zach Rivers was just a wicked name. And Zach Rivers is like a kind of a moniker of like this. He's kind of a cybernetic man born into the 80s. And he communicates only through vocals, synths, and and basically, like, I'm imagining some kind of like cheesy 80s film where this cybernetic man falls in love with his soulmate, and all of his songs are like love songs, essentially. Not like cheesy love songs, cool love songs,
Oh yes,
shades on,
synthwave love songs,
manly love songs.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he's a goel, and like he's in the Cyberpunk 2077 universe.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And, given the propensity at the moment, especially in training music as well, for like 80s synth sounds, I've just been having a lot of fun. And Logic has so many cool analog synth sounds that are just in the box.
I don't delve as much as I should into Logic. I don't know about you, Cody. Do you?
it's one of those things you got it there already in your system. So I tend to like buy more and more stuff that I add to it when there's, like you said, there's a lot of stuff already in the box that I probably should delve more into.
Like I only started using the sampler the other day, the quick sampler in Logic. Like Richard's probably gonna look at me and go, "Oh, you monster! I use that every day. I use it in my sleep."
I haven't done that update. I'm not even there yet.
Oh wow, you're not. Oh, you're still on the old one. You're still on 9.
It's because my 2010 beast of a Mac Pro is on its very last legs, and I'm terrified to do anything just in case it coughs and dies.
If you updated, it would just explode.
In fact, hold on. In this box is the dustbin Mac I bought to replace it, but it hasn't. I haven't unpacked it. Because I'm just like, there's too much work there. But
there's not too much work.
That's a week off work. That's
you just keep your computer running, and in the spare time that you have, which I'm sure you have plenty with all your kids and all your side projects, you just dibble dabble and you get it done. It's lickety split.
You could be working on something on your computer that still works while you have like Omnisphere installing on the other one, or something. You can get through it probably if you spent like a whole day doing it. Honestly, you could probably get most of it done, like a whole entire day. Or if you did it kind of like in and out of working on your other computer, you could probably get it done in a few days.
So this is
Richard's looking panicked now.
This you guys make it sound delightful. I almost feel like I should have a pina colada whilst I'm doing this.
Or an Aperol.
I've had to like wipe and reinstall my computers so many times that it is pretty easy now because I've done it so many times. But if I hadn't done it in 10 years, I forgot the process, then I can understand how it would be kind of daunting.
It is scary. I remember, I think I wiped my computer a few months ago, just because there were so many glitches in Logic, and the OS wouldn't reinstall. So I had this blank computer with no operating system, no nothing. And the whole point of Mac is it's supposed to download it from the internet. If it's, if you have nothing there, and it wouldn't work. Mode. Yeah, the recovery mode, and it just wouldn't work. And it took me about 4 or 5 days to get it back up and running. So Richard, if you were doing it, keep your other computer running and then get everything set up. It's nice to have 2 computers.
I imagine so. I just yeah, I know. It's one of I'm always like, guys, don't be scared to do stuff. You should just dive in the deep end. Unless it's technical, then don't do it.
Right, this is going to ruin your workflow.
Yeah. No.
So you're still on Logic 9, you said?
Yeah, probably Logic 5. No, I am Logic 10, but I don't have. Yeah, that's it. I don't have the quick sampler because that was the most recent update, Logic 10, wasn't it? The drag and drop.
Yeah, you just drag and drop. Very cool.
Unless I have it and I just didn't know it.
Yeah, I mean, I found it by accident, so it was. I recorded spoons, and I wanted to do something with the spoons, and so I was like, "Oh, let's see how we can do this," and so I put them into the quick sampler.
Were you like, I like rusty spoons?
I like this. That used to freak me out so much. What was that called? Like
salad fingers.
Oh God.
Yeah. I think it was the Boards of Canada music that made it extra specially creepy.
No, I blocked that from my memory now.
So you guys have managed to duck away from the question beautifully, by the way.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
No, I like it. I like it. So now you've had some time to think and chat. What is your new favorite toy right now to play? Music toy, guys. Just
music toy.
I like obviously spoons is your answer, Ciaran.
Spoons, yeah.
Something I use quite a lot just for like messing with sounds. Like say I record something, or even if I just take a sample from one place and want to kind of try and do something weird with it to make it into something different, unique, create a signature kind of thing or something. I've been using a couple of those output plugins, Portal and Thermal.
Oh, cool.
Are some. They have another one too, Movement, which that one's a little bit older, and I have it too. But more recently, or within the past couple of years, Portal and Thermal came about, and you can do some really weird, kind of off the wall stuff with it. Just kind of throw it in there, play around with some presets, and you could take one sound that maybe is a sound you'd expect it to sound like, like the the sound of, dropping a water bottle on the floor or something, and then you run it through that, and it sounds like, you can really mess with it and make it do something cool and unique, and otherworldly and what have you. So yeah, it's definitely a fun tool to play around with. So that's one thing I can think of.
Dude, I'm
you got
just
anything,
looking.
Ciaran?
I'm just looking at. Sorry, I'm just looking at the website. I've not heard of Output. So this is a wonderful thing. Obviously, I don't get to talk to anyone else usually. I'm just locked away in my room.
We're very isolated people. Yeah,
big time. So I'm just looking at the website. I've never heard of Output as a company, and it looks like a lot of fun. There looks like some kind of like Cosmos on the GUI, which I presume is where you can just.
Their instruments are brilliant as well. Yeah, their instruments are great.
There's some great instruments. Yeah, for sure.
Well, this is exciting. I'm learning new stuff. This is awesome. This is the thing.
This is what we're here for.
This is the
Richard,
thing.
that one you mentioned, was it called Alter Ego? Is that?
Oh, that's one of them.
One of them.
I'm gonna look it up. This is the one for I'm like, hey guys, it doesn't matter if I can't remember it, but it does matter. It was Chip Speech.
Chip Speech. Okay.
Yeah, by Plug. Yeah, vintage speech synthesizer. It was a lot of fun. Like I said, I'm not sure how often I would use that in my trailer music, but it's not all about trailer music. Sometimes it's just about having fun and igniting the passion.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen spark of inspiration to kind of build something off of it from there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or you take something from Chip Speech and chuck it into the granular synth effects plugin you were talking about from Output. Hello.
And then you can do something really wacky and create some cool signature sound that people are trying to emulate for the next year.
Oh, that'd be the dream. Yeah.
That'd be the dream.
I'd love for once to be like, as in, if you could ever get ahead of the curve where you're like, oh, wow, okay, so my sound is the sound. Great stuff. I don't need to go chasing or learning or anything. I'll let everyone catch up.
Just go do my thing.
Just do my thing until somebody else overtakes me again.
Have you ever had it when your track has been the reference track?
No.
Have
you, Cody? You had one, I think, Richard. Didn't you?
I've had it a couple of times. It's embarrassing because I've lost out on those. I haven't been able to win the briefs when I've been the reference. So yeah, that's. If anything, that's
like, come on, sound more like this Richard Schreiber guy. Come on, you should be able to do it.
I'm just Richard Preen. I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah. So that would be really cool, though. If it was, you were the trendsetter where everyone's like, like, what was it, Zach Hempsey?
Yeah, I've heard of him
Inception
in
trailer.
Years. The Inception one, yeah.
Yeah, who basically brought the Brahm to the trailer industry, essentially. Some would argue that Hans Zimmer did it, but that trailer was huge.
Huge, yeah. I love the way Brahms have evolved to a stage now where they're there, but they're not as heavy. They're not as it's not as normal 2012 kind of thing.
It's more of like it's a companion piece as opposed to being like the center of attention. Like it was at one.
Exactly. Yeah.
It used to be like you were the guy standing up with a foghorn, But now it's like there's like a demon underneath the stage that you're all stood on going.
Yeah, it's more like it's just a movement piece now rather than the focal point.
Yeah.
So yeah, but yes.
So Ciaran, come on, what's this? What's the new toy?
Toy can be is it a plugin that I use to create sounds? Is it like a new contact instrument? Can it be either of those?
Any or. I mean, I've said like a vintage synth, well, not vintage synth, like a chip tune instrument, essentially.
The only thing I bought recently was that Behemoth Audio Nemesis. I think that's by Jack Trammell.
Oh yeah, Trammell's
yeah, it's like it's like having Trammell in a box. It's super heavy, super like very like his sound. I suppose it's his sound in a library. But there's some very unique points to it. Like, as in the one part I loved the most about it was there's this chromatic button, and if you find out of all, say, the different sounds that he has created in, say, signature sounds, if you find one you like, you click this button and it maps it out on every single key on the keyboard. But they stay in time, so it's not like they're time stretched or pitch stretched or whatever. So if you go up and you play like C3 and you go all the way down, C1 or whatever it is, they stay at the same length, which is quite cool. Because that's the one thing I hate when you find a cool sound and you're like, oh, well, I need this to be a high pitch bend, and all of a sudden it's just like,
it's worthless.
Where you started off with those, and it's also very cool when libraries have them mapped out on the keyboard, because we all want to be able to play in, not everything is going to be in C that we write. So
it might be A minor.
It might be, or D, which I certainly don't write in D all the time with every single track. But yeah, that's quite a cool thing that I bought, because I haven't really bought anything else in a while. So like CSS and CSSS were the last two string libraries that I bought, and then I kind of was like, I don't need more string libraries, even though I've seen Audio Imperia brought in a new solo string library, which apparently is being very well received. So I might have a look at that, even though I don't need.
I sense a little bit of a flex in there. Kieran's like, I'm so good, I don't need to buy anything. I can just.
I'm poor, Cody. I have a baby now. All my money's gone into a future college fund.
Well, was it Hans Zimmer who said something about not buying sports cars and just buying instruments because it's like it's investing. It's the best way to invest in himself.
Yeah.
So you should.
I like that.
You should do that.
I just need to buy more stuff.
Yeah, that's basically it. That's how you win trailers, guys. Buy more instruments.
Buy more things, yeah. not work on your mixing or figure out how to use it, like, your plugins better. No, just keep buying. I know there is something to be said for like, I think we had this chat before. The inspiration you do get from sounds, if you stick with the same sounds the whole time, you get pigeonholed into, oh, well, I have this keep forest, like obviously they're fantastic for signature sounds and bends, but after a while, unless you start manipulating them yourself, or then learning how to create your own, or buying the next big thing, you get stuck, or else you sound like every other composer who's writing a track. Yeah. So I'm kind of a mixture of both. I think I'm trying to put in my own sounds, but 90% of the time I just manipulate the crap out of other sounds and figure out that way.
What would you use to manipulate it?
Oh God. As in the first things I go to sound toys, like just you have to even like little altar boy, little plate for the little reverb, and then Decapitator has to go on there somewhere. And then I suppose if you're looking to, I find the Waves sound pitch, I think it is, like that's what I use for pitching, because there's a lovely tone to it.
Yeah.
So as in it's nothing spectacular. I heard that, what's that, Paul X Stretch? I never used that. I've heard
Paul Stretch.
Yeah, I've never used it, but I hear it's very good.
Yeah, it's like a standalone. It's ridiculous how far you can stretch a sound, and the way it fills in the gaps. It just, it's magic. It's quite scary, actually. I haven't used it for quite a while, but I used to use it a lot when I was into into dark atmospheres, but that's still happening. But yeah, the problem with Paul Stretch is it's standalone, and if I can't load it in, unless someone's aware of a way to put Paul Stretch into Logic.
There
actually is a way to do that. I've used it once before. I had a custom, and I needed something to stretch it way out to this weird dreamy kind of feel. I think it was like, I can't remember what it was. I think it was like a custom where the vocal, like I was given the stems and the vocals, I had to like manipulate them and I had to like stretch them out. And I remember using Paul Stretch on it. I don't know if I even still have it installed. Oh no, I do. Yeah.
Ooh. Within Logic.
I got Paul Stretch, and I can load it in as a plugin in Logic.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I have it up right now. I don't remember what I did to get it in there because I guess I didn't realize till right now that it wasn't a thing having it as a plugin.
Yeah, I think years ago I went to use it and I was like, oh, like this is years and years ago, and I was like, oh, it's not a plugin. Oh, I don't really want to spend the time learning how to use this, and so I just didn't. Whereas if it's actually now you can use it in Logic, that'd be pretty good.
See, I suppose that's why you should update software, or at least check the updates occasionally. Like I suppose I must have downloaded that pull stretch 10, 12 years ago. It was a long, long time ago.
Yeah, maybe it's been since then that they've made the ability to use it as a plugin.
You guys, I've got so many Google tabs up right now, mostly from this chat.
I think it's like a freeware plugin too, right? Because I didn't.
Yeah, it's freeware.
So there's something you can get, not even have to spend any money. And maybe you should add, Richard, at the either at the start or the end of this video, we're not responsible for any financial hardships that we create. By listening to this podcast.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah. I wouldn't like to see the amount of money I've spent on plugins now at this stage.
We'd like to put a disclaimer in here, guys. If you any bankruptcy as a result of spending too much money on plugins is not our fault. This is not financial advice. There we go. Or at least definitely not sound financial advice.
It is true that sometimes you got to spend money to make money. So
yes,
just be smart about it. Buy what you need. Don't just buy everything that exists.
Well, here's a good question. What did you guys have when you started landing your first trailers?
Because
then I suppose that leads in from that one.
I had kind of my core orchestral stuff. Like I remember I had Cinematic Studio Strings 2. I had Hollywood Brass, which was really my main and only brass there for quite a long time. Still a great library, even though it's considered maybe a little bit dated at this point, but it's still a fantastic library. It cuts through great. And let's see, what else did I have, man? Maybe some of those original like Project Alpha kind of stuff. And
dude, you had a ton.
Yeah, I was doing this as sort of a hobby thing for a few years before I was like any kind of point to where I was ready to start submitting to publishers and getting placements. So I just kind of would get a little bit here and a little bit there. But by the time I was actually ready to start working with publishers, I had pretty much everything that was like kind of the basic that you would need, but then of course, once I started making money with it, then of course I could expand upon it and start getting a little bit of everything. So yeah, what about you guys?
I had a ton of cracked software, but I didn't use it. Actually, when my first trailer I landed was Men in Black 3, that was almost entirely Omnisphere.
Really?
That was Omnisphere was my second or third. I think Storm Drum I had, but I lost the license key when I updated my computer. I still don't have it, so I have all the samples. Anyway, so I had Storm Drum, couldn't use it, so I had Omnisphere, and that was pretty much. Oh, I tell a lie. And I had the East-West Composer Bundle. That was it. They were my orchestral sounds, East-West, and not like the snazzy Hollywood Brass, but like. So this was
symphonic orchestra.
They're like symphonic orchestra.
Yeah. So this was about 2010, 2011. Shit, that was 10 years ago.
Wow, it's mad when you think like that, isn't it?
Yeah. So that was symphonic orchestra and Omnisphere.
Yeah, Omnisphere was another one that was one of my first ones I bought too, and it was like to the point where I was like, should I maybe not have enough money for rent this month, or should I get Omnisphere?
Yeah,
and I went with Omnisphere, and luckily everything worked out. But
yeah. I own Zebra, and I have a couple of other synths, and I just straight away go to Omnisphere, and I can create a sound within a couple of minutes. Like this, the exact sound that I want. Whereas Zebra, you click a thing and you're trying to figure out, okay, where am I going to put this? And all of a sudden you're lost. Whereas Omnisphere just seems to be the workhorse for it. And I know people use Serum, and there's a lot of other great synths there, but it's just, for me, it's the synth.
Yeah. Also, you can do that thing that you don't like, where you drop a sample in and map it across the keyboard, so that you go when you drop it.
True. Yeah, I just like, I'm only starting to get into really kind of like dropping things into samplers now.
Oh, mate.
You're probably like, yeah, I know. You're like, okay, I'm going to create this sound. Blah, 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 blah. 2 seconds later, you've got a whole context instrument done.
Yeah.
I've just never bothered. I just didn't. I was like, no, I'll just concentrate on the music. But I'm finding now that I really want to do this, because the benefit is just so, it's so huge. So that'll be something I'll be doing in the future more.
But
yeah, it's fun when you do that kind of thing. Definitely.
So it's so important. Like once you've got your chops down with the structure and understanding at least some level of orchestration and build, once you've got those two things down, then the thing that's the missing piece is, well, where's your stamp? You know, how do I know this is a Ciaran Birch track as opposed to a Cody Still track, as opposed to a Richard Schreiber track? How do we know? You know, there are things. The nice thing is I can actually hear a difference between our writing. It's not like we're not copy and paste guys. Yeah. But for those of you listening, like that understanding of how to kind of create your own authentic approach and authentic sound, it doesn't have to be through sampling, does it? It can be other things. Like Ciaran, you use bends so much.
Yeah, I love my old bends. So.
Yes, yeah.
I do.
Great. Yeah.
Yeah, whenever I do a collaborative track with Ciaran, I almost feel guilty if I write a bend into it, because I feel like that should be something I just leave for Ciaran to do.
Oh, I love
it. You're stealing his thunder, Cody. That's
I know, right?
I should next time.
Toes, you know?
Yeah, I should just have the email ready with all capitals. Stop stealing my bends. It's what I say to Jill, my wife, every time. It's like, fuck Cody, he's after stealing the bends.
She's like, oh, he took your Radiohead album again, hey? Yeah. No, fucking hell.
Damn, Cody. I just thought that it is funny. Like, I mean, how we probably all use similar instruments, similar, you know, DAWs as well. I think we all use Logic. And there is a thing where, I don't know about you guys, and maybe it's me being a bit naive, but I don't really know what my sound is, but other people seem to. But as in, I remember years ago, somebody messaging me going, hey, can you tell me how you do your percussion? And I didn't really think too much about my percussion, but I kind of said, well, like, look, I'm using 3 or 4 different libraries. It could be Damage, it could be Master Ensemble from Heaviosity, it could have been a couple of other bits. And they're like, oh, I have those as well, but what are you doing differently? And I kind of just say, well, look, what I would do is, and I don't know about you guys, if I'm listening to music, there would be parts of somebody, it could be, again, there's countless amazing composers in this industry, but you'll hear something that they do and you'll be like, oh my God, how did they get that sound into their track? I remember years ago, do you know, it's Anton Novoselic. I can never pronounce his second name.
Yeah, really slow motion.
Really slow motion guy. And
Novoselic, maybe? Yeah. Russian composer.
Sorry,
Anton.
Anton.
Yeah.
Don't worry, I've been called Ciaran an awful lot by people, so
I like that.
Sorry, Anton.
That's
Ciaran.
Ciaran.
Yeah, Ciaran. But I heard, was it Gender? Was that the Captain America Winter Soldier song?
Yeah, it was.
And the percussion in that was just phenomenal. It's super punchy, low end with this tiny, tiny cymbal metal thing. It just goes at the top end, and like it is just, to me, it's still one of the best percussion sounds out there. I think Alex Johnson and Nick Rowe do very good that sound, and I'm always looking for that sound, listening for it. It's just so simple. But it's so difficult to get. It's that punch, but the punch comes from obviously a kick and some sort of sub with this tiny, tiny, teeny little bit at the top. And so I didn't go and straight away ask them, tell me how you did that. I figured out, okay, well, how do I get something like that? And then created something completely different and unique from being inspired by that sound.
Is that why you were playing with spoons?
I do like the spoons, yeah. I'll tell you why I'd use the spoons.
Trying to get that little
spoons for.
Yeah.
I was writing a sci-fi horror track, and I what did I want to do? I don't know why I took the spoons out. I just took a lot of spoons and just obviously had the mic there and used them as percussion, so to be kind of creating like that kind of sound, like nearly like breaking bones, but it was more like a roll into
a flam
into a
type
hit.
of thing.
Yeah, and then obviously throw crap tons of plugins on it. But yeah, so the spoons now are going to be my signature. So after telling everyone what my new signature sound is.
But you know, back to your original point though, it's really there is something to be said for trying to figure out yourself, but I also think there's something to be said for more sharing.
Yeah,
because like I went into the industry like not wanting to show anything, but actually like showing people exactly how I do it doesn't mean that they can then do exactly how I do it, you know, because they will still do the exact motions slightly differently. And that still amazes me how someone will go, oh, I've just done this course of yours and, you know, I've pretty much copied you, you know, exactly what you were doing, and they would have done something very different. And I love that, you know, because actually I think it's doing, I'm not just giving myself a big head here, but I think it's doing a service, because when I started, no one was showing anybody anything. You know, this was sort of before YouTube got big, sort of, you know, 2007, 2008, when I first started out. So you didn't have that opportunity to find out. So, you know, like you said, Ciaran, you'd hear something and go, oh, that's incredible. How did they do that? And that was all you got. You know, how can I do that with Omnisphere? You know, which probably is one of the reasons why I do like messing around with sounds, because you know, it's a creative way to reach the end point. But on the other hand, you're saving so many people so much time by showing. You know, basically what I'm going to say, I'm leading up to it, but please, guys, show me how you do your production on your drums.
Cody's the one you want to ask. I admire Cody's drums an awful lot. So
me too. He'll
tell you.
They're always so bright and and they don't seem to swamp anything. You know, yeah. It's just Cody's blushing, brother. Everyone, you know.
Yeah, you can hear that through the microphone.
Yeah, that's it.
It's just a sizzle. It's
the sizzle on the drums.
That's how Cody gets his drums.
Yeah, well, with the drums, really, there are a lot of people who use the same libraries, but like you said, what one person does will sound totally different than what someone else does, and really, it's about how you layer them, and then also how you mix everything else with it. Because I've even, like, I can write a drum, like a sequence of drum patches, and have the parts written out and everything, and then have that in a track that I wrote, like an action hybrid track or something. And then maybe next week or whatever, I'm doing a custom where I want to maybe get a head start on the drums. I don't want to start from scratch. So I'll load in the same exact drums that I did before and then plan to just kind of change the rhythms, but it doesn't work at all. Like the sound doesn't cut through, the sound doesn't work. And just so copy and pasting the drums from one track to the next isn't really going to do it. It's not really a matter of nailing one drum sound, but it's a matter of figuring out the drum sound that's going to work with that particular track. So you might be like a bass line, but rarely will it work unless you have the exact same, like even if the track's in a different key, it might change things around with the way that different frequencies are interacting and what have you. So I've noticed that like you can't just like figure out a drum sound and have that just be your end all for everything. You know, you really got to make it work on a track per track basis. But it really it's about coming up with the right balance of, you know, the kick, you know, the thump, the whoomp, the snap, the crackle, the pop, you know, layering these different pieces kind of from top to bottom, and not leaving anything out, because even if you got like the biggest, meatiest, punchiest low drum without that little top end plink at the very top of it to kind of give it that kick or that little punch, or to allow it to just cut through the mix, you know, the whole drum could basically get swallowed up in the mix, and you in a weird kind of illusion way, you don't even really hardly hear it. But adding in one little high pitch, you know, kind of a little snap can be all it takes for the rest of the drum to kind of perception wise come out in the mix, where you can really hear it and feel it. But a lot of it also too comes down to what else is happening on the track. So, just because you have the best sounding drums, the meatiest, powerful, punchy drums, if you have these wall of sound kind of strings and brass and synths, especially, that can really just swallow it up. So one of the things that really improved my drums more than anything, I think, was by cutting out a lot of the low and the unnecessary frequencies from all those other instruments, kind of making everything fit well together, as opposed to just trying to make my drums as big and as powerful as I can, because before you know it, you're going to be clipping through like crazy. And, if you're not careful about the gain staging and everything, you're going to be like really pushing it. So take everything else, cut out the lows of pretty much everything. Even on, you might listen to your string stem, and you might think, oh, it sounds a little thin in the bottom or a little bit thin in the lows. And that may be perfectly fine for that track, because you want that to be reserved for the drums to really cut through. I'm not a big sidechain guy. I don't like sidechaining. I don't want it to create problems with, well, for one, it's kind of a challenge to get the stems to really work right when you're sidechaining and what have you. And because you always have to deliver stems and these sort of things. And there are tricks to make it work. But then, if they want to use the strings by themselves, then, now they've got little gaps in the sound where it kind of sucks out the sound of the strings, and the clients don't want that. So I tend to avoid side chaining, even though that is a trick you can use to make the drums really cut through and punch through. But I feel like I'm kind of rambling on now at this point.
No, this is golden.
Yeah, this is like mixing masterclass. Like if I wasn't paying attention so hard, I'd be writing this down.
So really treat it. My voice is cracked like a 12-year-old. Treat it like you're orchestrating in a sense. When you're writing out for an orchestra, you got your double basses, you got your cello, you got your viola, and you got your violin 1, violin 2, and you're writing from top to bottom in an SATB kind of format, or what have you. The drums are kind of their own orchestration in a way. You've got the big low kicks, the taikos, maybe like a snare or something in that snare type of range. You've got the higher end clinks and clanks and pops and snaps and stuff that'll layer into it. So treat it like an orchestration in that sense. And also in the writing perspective part of it as well, you may not have the double basses playing like the super fast rhythms, maybe more like them playing quarter notes, or them playing, and I know you guys aren't American, so you may not call it quarter notes and what have you.
We do, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. Just because otherwise
it's only those British people.
Excuse me, could you pass me some quavers? Yeah.
Oh yeah, and that's a whole different conversation. But yeah, so like, so you might have like the getting back to like writing for orchestra. You may have, like, if you have short strings, the low double basses and cellos maybe playing, or double bass especially, maybe playing like a slower rhythm every quarters or half notes. If they're playing like a staccato-y thing, and then the higher strings might be doing like the faster rhythms. Your violin 2 maybe doing the real fast 16th note kind of ostinato pattern. And I'm actually airbowing right now.
I love it.
as I'm talking about it. But so the writing for drums, again, kind of relates to orchestrating in that sense, because the low drums are going to be more spaced apart. You may have quarter notes, maybe some eighth notes, but maybe more half notes and whole notes with the low big drums. And then the smaller drums, maybe much more faster, continuous kind of running rhythm, which you wouldn't want to do with the low drums, because it's just going to turn the whole mix to mud the moment you try to do that. So treating drum writing and mixing and production as well, like it's almost an orchestra of its own, is an interesting way, I think, to treat it. And that's how I think of it myself when I'm writing and working with percussion.
Approach everything like 4-part harmony.
Right.
Essentially.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah.